It's just him saying, I'm the A side, I should dictate where it goes. Everybody who signed the contract, including Andy Ruiz, knows exactly the contractual obligations. So it's not a case of me saying, if we don't fight him, he'll be sued. That's a given. But there's no issue. Our team, their team are talking throughout. They know their obligations. It's just that Andy Ruiz has obviously got a few people in his ear around California telling him this and that. And
did I presume?
Yeah, it'll be December now. I think America is out of the running. But Andy Ruiz don't really want to come to the UK, and he used all the Dillian White stuff as and look at this now.
How annoying is that for you?
Well, it's bad timing, but basically, because of the way that the contract works, we can still have the fight essentially where we want the fight. But we do respect him, and we don't want any aggravation, any moaning. So do we look at a neutral venue? There are a couple of neutral venues that we're looking at. Cardiff's still the front runner though. So I know I keep saying this weekend and this week, but in the next 48 hours, 100% Ruiz's team will be alerted as to where that fight will take place. I've been speaking a lot to Ruiz's team this week, sort of keeping them up to speed with where we're going. Look, they don't want to come to the UK. They never have done. I think they use the sort of Dillian White saga as a little bit of a scapegoat, in that decision as well. And we have to take that into consideration. Contractually, we know our position, but we want to make sure we get the fight done. We want to respect Andy Ruiz, but we'll decide where the venue is. A neutral venue, he'd be a lot happier with. I think I can rule out America right now.
Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So we just heard there from AJ's team, aka the Earnmeister. And once again, let me start this video off with I told you so. On your screen now, you'll see a tweet from Eddie Hearn, aka Eddie Cover Up Hearn, which went out on July 9th, three and a half weeks ago now. And that was the first time I heard from my verified, valuable sources. In fact, that was the very first time that your boy YB dropped the exclusive information which I received in cash and kind, where I heard that essentially Andy Ruiz, Al Gaiman, etc. were playing games. Yeah? Little did we know, the YB would be proved absolutely correct. It was only the other day, I think it was a week ago now, I broke the story with Barry Hearn. Barry Hearn comes out saying, oh yeah, every day it's getting more complicated. Tutus now, another week later, 3.5 weeks since the first tweet went out from Hearn saying, oh yeah, new news coming soon. We're still none the wiser. But thankfully enough, Eddie Hearn himself, AJ's team themselves, have actually confirmed what the YB broke 3.5 weeks ago. I told you, this guy don't want to come to the UK. Everyone else is saying, oh no, Eddie Hearn's not saying that. AJ's team aren't saying that. Oh yeah, Ruiz is happy to come. He'll fight anywhere. I tried to tell you, this dude does not want to come, and thankfully, YB sources have been absolutely confirmed. You show me one person on the 9th of July or before who was breaking the exclusive news. No one was breaking squat. Yeah, the YB sources pulled through, broke the exclusive. I told you, Al Heyman pulling his hair out, couldn't bear it, and they're still fighting today. Listen, all of you lot who follow boxing on a daily basis, how many times has Eddie Hearn said over the last 3, 4, 5 weeks, how many times has he said, new news coming next week, new news coming in 48 hours, new news coming next week? That doesn't, in business is pretty standard stuff. Do you know how many contracts and how many deals Eddie Hearn has made? He's made so many contracts. Do you think it's by chance that this one particular contract is constantly putting him back? Does that make sense? What I'm trying to say is Eddie Hearn wouldn't be saying next week unless there was stuff in the woodworks coming up. When you're in a particular business, you know how roughly it takes, how long on a normal basis it takes to get a deal done. Yeah? You wouldn't be saying next week, 48 hours, if it was going to be done, if you knew it was going to be done in 4 weeks' time. You'd keep your mouth shut until the week. But what's happened is, as I keep saying, every time Eddie Hearn and AJ send a contract, Ruiz, they're not having it. They're always playing around and essentially refusing to sign the contract. And you've heard there from Hearn now. They do not categorically come out. He wasn't saying this before. Before the YB broke it, he wasn't saying it. Show me a video 3 weeks ago of Hearn saying, oh yeah, Ruiz is playing games and Ruiz don't want to come to the UK. Before, in fact, I think it was only a week ago. Only a week ago, Eddie Hearn was saying, oh no, he's just playing around. He's happy to come. Yeah, no, he's just playing around. He's having banter. Now all of a sudden is admitting he does not, categorically on several occasions, he does not want to come to the UK. He don't want to come. He's scared. He's shook. Ruiz is officially shook. Confirmed from Eddie and Hearn. My man don't want no problems with the UK fans. That's what I'm hearing. I'm hearing he knows. The other thing you got to consider, when you come to the UK, not only are you dealing with the fans, you're also dealing with a dangerous AJ. Do you understand that? The UK AJ ain't no USA AJ. Do you understand that? And Ruiz knows that. Ruiz knows good and proper what he's getting. He's getting the UK AJ, the smoking motherfucker. That's what he's looking at. That's what his future. Listen, people can go to these forecasters. They can go to these like star sign dons and whatever. I'll tell you now, Andy Ruiz's star sign don is telling him you're getting smoked if you step foot in the UK. He's into all this Aztec business going on. He's into all that. I don't know, you know, him Aztec forecast, and he knows what is coming. He's been told, yeah. The Mexican voodoo don told him, do not step foot in the UK. If you step foot in the UK, you are getting smoked. That's why. Why do you think he's acting like it's... I've never seen someone so adamant on it, on anything. Why are they so adamant on it? Absolutely adamant. Because he knows he's going to get brought down if he steps foot in the UK. 100%. No doubt. Anyway, I've written a few notes here. Things to go over. Let me take it from the top. The first thing. Eddie Hearn says here, Andy Ruiz has got people in his ear. Did the YB not try and tell you that? You literally can't write this stuff up. People telling me, oh yeah, the only sources the YB's got is HP. Oh yeah, the only sources the YB's got is tomato. Well, why is it now, 4 weeks later, Eddie Hearn himself is saying, Ruiz has got people in his ear. Who do you think them people are? It's Al Gaiman himself. Al Gaiman's the one he's always at the centre of anything. Whenever there's some sort of FUCKERY going on, you know it's going to be Al Gaiman at the middle of it. He can't help himself. Yeah, if you in boxing's a sport, yeah. If you want boxing to become about this bums fighting bums, let Al Heyman keep working his magic or his anti-magic. Al Heyman has anti-magic. He's anti-fights. Name me one big, not even big fight. Big fight isn't really a question. He's put big fights on. Name me one competitive fight he's put on ever. When does he put competitive fights on? They don't. They're not interested in competitive fights. They're interested in making money, which is great for him, but not great for no one else. Meanwhile, Hearn is making banger after banger, chomping at the bit to make the big fights, hunting down Wilder. From every angle, White wants him, AJ wants him. Simple. Look at that, look at the latest fight. Hughie Fury versus Povetkin, banger. Straight to it, no messing about at all. Yeah? Al Heyman needs to get out of Ruiz's ear and tell Ruiz to man up. Get your ass to the UK, get brought down, and then you can go back to obscurity. Don't worry, AJ and the UK fans have put Ruiz on a one-way ticket back to obscurity. No one will know you. Yeah, the same way you went from 50,000 IG followers to 1 million, you'll be going back down to 50,000. By the time you've landed back in the US, you go back to 50k, and that's why you don't want to come here. I understand, to be fair to him, he's only a man, he's only human. He knows the whooping he's talked himself into, he's about to walk into, and that's why he's refusing to do it. If not, explain to me why he ain't refusing to do it. Why ain't he coming for? He should be, bearing in mind how great was his performance. All the Ruiz fans love to bang on to the YB. Oh, YB, you're not sucking Ruiz off enough. Oh, YB, if Ruiz is that deadly, why ain't he come? He should be signed up weeks ago. He shouldn't be trying to string it out, trying to find loopholes to get him out of the contract so he can go and fight Beyonce, chicken legs. That's what he's been trying to do. Him and Gaiman are trying to make... How long have we been hearing now? Oh yeah, Ruiz might be doing the unification first. Yeah, Ruiz don't have to do this, Ruiz don't have to do that. We've heard from all the uneducated, we've heard from all of the alleged lawyers, Barbershop and Fanny Nanny. Oh yeah, we're lawyers and we know that Ruiz can demand what he wants. What muppets. These dudes, these dons are 50, 60-year-old men who are allegedly lawyers talking about, oh yeah, Ruiz can demand what he wants. That's mental. You guys haven't got a lick of a clue. Hearn told you. He'll do as you're told, and that moves me on to my next point, actually. At the start of this video, I played a clip, and Eddie Hearn, in fact, I played the clip a few times, and the clip says, well, the interviewer asked Eddie, will there be legal problems if Ruiz doesn't, like, go along with, or if Ruiz and Gaiman do not do as they're told, what will happen? And Eddie Hearn says, it's a given. They'll be legally cooked. That's just a given. Eddie Hearn didn't even spend no time talking about it. What he said was, it's a given for them to be legally cooked. Do you know how deadly? Do you know how much of a deadly statement that is? No messing about. It's a given. Yeah, we don't even. Eddie Hearn told you we don't even need to discuss the legal debacle you'll find yourself in if you try and be smart, Gaiman. Yeah, you try for the last 4 weeks. You've tried to be smart and you've failed again. Hold another L. I tried to warn you, man, a few weeks ago. I said, listen, your best bet when you're dealing with Eddie Ironclad Hearn, your best bet is to just take the L you've already got. Take the L that you'll be told where, when, and how, and why will be happening. Yeah, that's your best bet. Take that. Now what has happened now? You got that L, you've still got the same L you was trying so hard to fight. Now you've been served another one. Now you're down a couple $1 million in lawyer fees. Yeah? Gaiman's had a whole firm of lawyers for the last 4 weeks trying to find something out of his contract. And guess what? He's found out well and truly Eddie Ironclad Hearn ain't just a name. It's a fact. Simple. All the LDBC were talking about, yeah man, cock-a-doodle-doo. Yeah, man, Al Heyman, man, he's the best lawyer, man. He's from Harvard, man. Yeah, cock-a-doodle-doo. If he's that good, why hasn't he found a way not to be forced to come to the UK? And that's what I loved about this situation. For me, I've always said I can't wait for this to be announced in the UK, because what happened to all these claims of 50 million? Everyone was adamant. Yeah, man, they're gonna have to pay Ruiz $50 million. They were adamant on it. So when he comes here and he's getting paid exactly what the YB, exactly what Eddie Ironclad Hearn told him he'll be paid, it's kind of peak for Al Heyman. Al Gaiman's been shut down by Eddie Hearn in his homeland. Yeah, Eddie Hearn, Ruiz signed a contract in the US. Al Gaiman got slayed in the US, 100%, no doubt. Anyway, my next point. We learned some more information. It will be in the UK and it will be on the 14th of December. That's fine. I'm not going to spend too much time on that, but it's not going to be in the USA. Perfect. Them words is music to my ears, because it's not in the UK. This dude, Ruiz, has absolutely no say. Do you understand? Eddie Hearn's coming out publicly saying it will not be in the UK. Do you notice the difference there? There's a difference in power balance. Eddie Hearn tells Ruiz where it won't be, yeah? But Ruiz sits there complaining. Ruiz talks about what he's not going to do. Meanwhile, Hearn talks about what Ruiz will be doing. Does that make sense? Meaning, Hearn talks about his actions and other people's actions. Ruiz can only talk about his own. He can only say, "Oh, I'm not coming to the UK." You can't dictate no one. Meanwhile, Team AJ tell Ruiz where he'll be going. That's simple. And if you don't, as Hearn said, it's a given. You'll be getting cooked otherwise. Simple, no doubt, 100%. Anyway, my next point. Hearn says we can have the fight where we want it, and this is actually quite an important point I want to spend a bit of time on. And Hearn says we can have the fight where we want, but we want the fight to get made. We want to make sure the fight gets made, and this is what worries me. And this is what I've been trying to talk about for the last few weeks. And a lot of people have missed this point. I've been ranting and raving and informing people that Gaiman and Ruiz are, I'm trying to think of the word of what they are. They are Hearn's wish, Team AJ's wish, is their command. That's the best way to put it. Hearn says jump, Ruiz, Gaiman say how high, massa. That's the long and the short of it. Yeah. However, the one little bit of power they do have is to refuse signing the contract, which is what I've been hearing. I've been hearing for the last 4 weeks, several proper contracts have been sent. And that's why, from what I understand, from what I've been told, that's why for the last few weeks, have you not noticed, the last few weeks, we've heard several times from Hearn saying, oh yeah, new news coming soon in 24 hours. The reason he keeps saying that is because every time he said that, from what I'm hearing, he's actually sent a full contract out. However, every time, so he's sitting there thinking, well, it won't take long, in 24 hours, we'll be able to announce, because the contract will be, because we've sent the contract out, not accounting for how much this is burning Heyman. So them 3 or 4 times he said that over the last 4 weeks, he's sent a full contract out, but Ruiz has refused to sign it. That's the bottom line. That's why Eddie Hearn says here, we have got full control, but we want to get the fight made. Hearn don't really want to spend a whole load of time in court, ideally. But this is how much, you've got to realise how petty Wilder and, not even Wilder, but you've got to realise how petty Gaiman and all them lot are. They're weirdo. The US are, they're not the US, but that particular set of people, you know, the LDBC, the PBC, they're a bunch of weirdos. They'd rather sit in court than just get the fight on. And we know that already. They love it. They love actually not fighting. I'd much rather sit in a court and waste a load of money than actually just get a fight on. That's the bottom line. And that's why Eddie Hearn's... Why do you think Eddie Hearn's sitting there now trying to look at different venues and talking about neutral venues for? It's not for his sake. We want it. They want it in the UK. However, if we want to get their signature on the paper, that's the only bit of power Ruiz has, is to not sign the contract. Now he'll be in default on the contract or whatever. But then it opens up a whole legal situation which takes a whole lot of time. It could take years to end up getting an actual result. Which let's get straight. If going to court isn't an issue at all for Hearn and Team AJ, not even one bit, because Ruiz will get absolutely cooked. Yeah. Never mind his life, his children, his children's children will be paying off the debt that Hearn and Team AJ will have him put on. Simple as that. It'll be a people talk about generational wealth. He'll have a generational debt to be paid off in full. No doubt. So you got to bear that in mind. Ruiz and these guys are petty. They're not. People talk about Ruiz being a true fighter, but if he's a true fighter, he'd get to the UK the same way AJ rocked up to MSG, which is his hometown. He ain't Mexican in that sense. He don't live in Mexico. Talking about, I haven't really had a home fight either. What do you mean you haven't had a home fight? You fought in your country I think you was born in the US as well. You was born here and you live here. US is your home in that sense. UK is essentially AJ's home. I believe he's born in the UK. Simple as that. You've had one, and now I don't get it at all. You won the fight. I can't understand that for the life of me. You won the fight there. So why have you got an issue going to the UK for? Mental. Anyway, my next point. Ruiz's team will be alerted in 48 hours. So we're going to know now what's what. And I'm trying to tell you lot. Take this as, not a warning, but take this as everything that happens in life or in situations, you have to use that as information. So Hearn told us on the 31st of July that Ruiz's team will be notified within the next 48 hours. So my point is, a week from now, when the fight is still not signed, I want everyone to understand that Ruiz is putting up roadblocks and trying to get in the way of the fight. That will be pure proof. The same way the last 4 times Team AJ and Eddie Hearn have said, 40 hours. It's been another 3 weeks. That's because Ruiz is refusing to sign. He's absolutely adamant on it. He don't want to come here. He don't want to get his head top taken clean off. He don't want to get his chain snatched by the YB with a couple man. Simple as that. He don't want to get his gal snatched by the YB. Yeah? Simple. That's what I'm hearing. Ruiz has heard the YB's videos and he's got deep anxieties about getting his chain snatched. I've heard from good sources that Ruiz has told people, listen, I'll come to the UK as long as the YB ain't allowed to be there. That's what I'm hearing. His only stipulation is that the YB cannot be in the vicinity. I'm banned. YB's banned from a 10-mile radius around the Principality Stadium. That's what I've got an email. I've been served with papers. Yeah. What's it called again? I've got the name, but bottom line is I can't be within 10 miles of Andy Ruiz. He's got a protection order out on me because he's shook about me snatching his chain up on TMZ. My last point is a question, really, and I want someone from. This is what I mean. If these goons were doing proper journalism, if these goons were listening to the YB, they'd ask proper questions. I want to know from Eddie Hearn, what happens if Ruiz does, once again, refuse to sign his contract? At what point, I'm thinking, at what point do you end up... it frustrates me, because Eddie Hearn said here, if we have to pick a neutral... if we have to pick a neutral venue, we might have to do that just to get an easy life. I don't want him to do that, but I get both ways. You got to remember, this is what frustrates me about AJ's situation. We always end up being the ones having to bend over backwards, even though you're the A side. Even though you've got the power, you just because AJ's hungry for the fights. It's like the Wilder situation. AJ's having to give away 40 and possibly even 50% just because he wants to get the fight done. Does that make sense? AJ might have to go to the US just to get the fight done because the Ruiz will refuse to sign. You heard Eddie Hearn here talking about, oh yeah, we might have to pick a more neutral venue just to make them happy. It pisses me off, and part of me thinks, you know what, just take it to court then. But then the other part of me thinks, well, I want to see the fight. So it's a difficult one. It really is. And I'm just hoping that maybe some of you Mexican dons can really reach out to your boy Ruiz and give him some confidence. Give him some hope. Make him feel like he's got a chance in the UK. I know it's going to be difficult when you got ruthless Donnies like the YB out here ready to chomp on, ready to. But listen, we're out here. I've got a bag of man out here ready on site to mentally break and cook Ruiz. Simple as that. He's already cooked. The works. Talking about ready to cook him. He's already been cooked. He's already mentally broken. He's already not wanting no part of the UK. Simple as that. Your boy's shook. And if he ain't, tell him to sign the contract. He could have signed it 3 weeks ago. He's shook.